Dear Hummingbird, I hope you are well. I am Anna from Efecto Colibri, and I am glad to bring you a new episode of Dear Friend We Listen, a mini-series of single chapters in which people whose stories have been displaced to the periphery raise their voices. Our intention is to change narratives and mobilize a just, diverse, and regenerative reality. In this episode, we hear the powerful story of Mariana, a young Ukrainian woman whose serene life was upturned during a vacation in Barcelona. Previously accustomed to the ongoing conflicts with a neighboring country, she never anticipated that suddenly she would be unable to return to her homeland, her career, or her loved ones. Overnight, she became a refugee and embarked on a transformative journey to support her fellow compatriots in finding a new place to call home. Today, we delve into the complex life of worried refugees, exploring the unseen privileges of nationality and race, and uncovering the profound impact and mutual benefits of welcoming those displaced from their native lands.
My name is Mariana. I'm from Ukraine. I'm 35, and since invasion of Russians to Ukraine, I live in Barcelona, and I work as a volunteer in Ukrainian Association under the adaptation and integration issues of Ukrainian forced migrants. I grew up in the west of Ukraine, near the Polish border. My grandparents were Ukrainians, Polish, Jewish, like all the nations which lived in Ukraine together, like a neighbors, like a friends for centuries. So I have almost all these roots, even the Tatar roots. My childhood was like common childhood of maybe more than 50% of Ukrainians, because more than 50% of our immediate population in Ukraine, they live in the villages. Even if you live in city or in the town, every summer vacation, winter vacation, you'll be spending with your relatives, with your grandpa, grandma in the village. So I was one of them. Like half of my experience came from the Ukrainian village. And recently I wrote a huge post about my memories, about my mentoring from the side of my aunt, from my sister. When they taught me, you need to take care about all the animals you have, like to give them to eat, to the cows, to chicken, to ducks, to sheep, to everyone. You need to know how to take care about all animals since you have 5 years. And if you don't know how to do something, you have your eyes, you have your ears, and you can watch and listen how adults doing the same job. So I've been like a part of this working community since I was 5, and I was happy child, you know. And in my free time, I was able to read books. It was like my pleasure for all of kids in Ukraine in free time to read something or to go to sit on some tree to read and eat some cherries or apricots. I think our culture has few pillars. It's freedom, but in Ukrainian language there is 2 words of freedom. It's voля and svoboda. The first one, it's about freedom from something. So we want to be free from someone else's wishes. So we want to be independent. Another freedom, which is svoboda, we want to be free for sightseeing. Free to have responsibilities, We want to have some responsibilities. Responsibilities which gives us happiness. And recently I did a research with Ukrainian Polytechnical University in Leopolis in Lviv about values of Ukrainian refugees in Poland, in Spain, and what they said to us, like what is most important things, which is most important things for them. Family, friendship, peace, democracy. It was free choice. Please write the most important words for you, like family, traditions, friendship. So this freedom, family, friendship, it's very important for us. We already have the war in Ukraine since 2014. It's already 10 years. And I've been living in Ukraine since the war begins and until 2019. And we also get used to this war on Donbass. It's like very basic feelings of people when they hiding themselves, when they protecting their mental health from all of these stressful situations. And I'm sorry for these words, for the fresh blood is closer to their hearts, to their minds. I should say, to be very precise, it's from 2014, but generally, Ukraine fighting for its independence for hundreds of years. And we constantly suffering from genocide, most recent in 1930s, 1940s. We had a huge genocide in Ukraine, and it took from us from 10 to 20 million people. So the war started not in 2014, but in 2013, when the Ukrainian students, they did first manifestation against President Yanukovych's decision not to connect with European Union. He was against this European Union course of Ukraine, against democracy, and against all these democratic rights, because he worked for Russian. Unfortunately, in that time, in 2013-14, we had this puppet government in Ukraine. But normal people in Ukraine, they started to fight for their rights to be a democracy, to be on the family of European Union countries. And since then, it provoked the war in Ukraine, because Russia, people don't want to be with Russia, took the territories without what they want, without their wishes. And they occupied Donbass region, they occupied Crimea, people was voting for this referendum, and Russian soldiers were standing with guns near them, They did, after this 2014 genocide of Crimean Tatars, main inhabitants of Crimea Peninsula, what they did in 1930s, 1940s. They wanted to burn all the land from other inhabitants, from Ukrainians, from Jewish people, from Crimean Tatars, and to say, you never been here in this territory. This territory was empty, And in 1930s, they start to give all these houses of killed people to Russian newcomers, what they did after 90 years with Donbass region, with Crimea. They killed our people, Crimean Tatars, and they give for free or for very cheap all these houses, bloody houses, to their people. And Russians, they was happy. And even now, in the social media, Russians writing about their dreams to have a house or apartment in Odessa. It's a completely different mentality. So we are fighting, but we are fighting not only for our land, for our property, for our houses. We're fighting for people who still live in that territories, for older people who couldn't leave their houses and their land, sick people who couldn't leave also these territories, for young people who need to take care about their parents, their relatives, their friends. We're fighting for people because they want to destroy us. I didn't plan this because in Ukraine I had a very good job. I've been working in consulting, international consulting, and been helping Ukrainian city halls to write essays of economical development, and everything was great, I didn't plan to go elsewhere. But I had my vacations from middle of February until 1st of March, I had my vacations, And I chose to go to Barcelona only because it was cheap flights, So, and I came here with one of the last flights from Boryspil, from Kiev. And a few hours later, the full-scale invasion started. Now I want to believe that God, who believes in God, because Ukrainians, we believe a lot, He has a plan for everyone. And this was His plans for me. So now I'm here. I didn't hear these explosions because my flight was few hours before all of this, but I couldn't sleep. I didn't sleep that night from 23rd to 24th February 2022, and I didn't know why I couldn't sleep. But suddenly, it was 4 or 5 in the morning, I started to receive a lot of messages about that war started. And I've been thinking I'm dreaming. And I had this strong feeling that it's not real. Because for me, it was nonsense that in our age, in 2000s, someone would invade another country, start to kill people, civilians, kids, women. I wasn't able to believe on this. And when I saw all these dead bodies, I started vomiting, in my bedroom. And until now, I'm not able to watch news and to watch all these videos and photos from Ukraine. Even alive people. So I don't know if people from other countries, they will be able to understand this. Because it's maybe, I hope you're not, but if you had in your life this experience that you saw someone from your family or from your close friends that they wasn't alive, it's almost the same feeling when you see your compatriots dead or injured. It's something sitting inside of your body, inside of your heart. You want to vomit, you want to, I don't know, run somewhere, do something to stop this. You just want to awake, but you couldn't do anything. Nothing. So from the very first day, since 23rd of February 2022, I started to help Ukrainian refugees here. I've been a refugee too, but it was my way to help myself, because I have this feeling, some people, they need to hide, I need to run. But my running is to help others, so it will be like helping me. Because I have this feeling that I should help my country, if not in the war, not in the army. So I need to help my country here, all of my Ukrainians. So I started helping other refugees with art therapy. The very first Ukrainian flags on the manifestations in Barcelona was did by refugees from my hotel where I lived. And the kids, they painted different cartoons for exhibitions. We did different different Ukrainian symbolic to disseminate it on the manifestations. And then I've been invited, me and other tourists, which was in Barcelona in the very first day. They received this free accommodation in the albergues, in some small hotels in Catalonia. And in my albergue, I have 130 Ukrainians. All of them, they was keeping reading and watching the news from Ukraine. They were so stressed because of this situation that they wasn't able to return home. They had their relatives and loved ones in Ukraine. Someone was keep talking, someone crying, someone wasn't able to speak. And I've been thinking what we can do. So these people won't be on this situation constantly. They needed to do something with their hands. So we started from painting, someone gave us some pencils, some colors, and we started painting. Another Barcelonian volunteers, they gave us some material. And I found these machines, and we did first Ukrainian flags for manifestations. And on manifestations, we received some donations. And for this money, I bought 100 meters of material. And people with whom I lived, we did a lot of Ukrainian flags, And the idea was to give this flag as a present to people who was helping to our community on this albergue, to Ayuntamiento, to all of Spanish and Ukrainian volunteers. But then, one local Ukrainian association, they somehow heard about what I'm doing, and they invited me to be their volunteers. They volunteer, and for that moment, they had a Ukrainian humanitarian, which helped Ukrainian refugees with information, with some food, with clothes, and I joined to them. And thanks to one local company, they gave to our association their old office. It was empty for, 10 years. And we painted this office, cleaned it all. Another IT company, they gave us their old furniture, some computers, and we had this first office. Then it was idea to create the first Ukrainian library in Spain. I wrote a lot of letters to Ukrainian publishers, to the government, and save to God, they sent us couple of thousand Ukrainian books, and we created on September 2022 first Ukrainian library in Spain. it makes me feel that I'm doing not enough. I need to do more. So like Ukrainian refugees, they were so lucky and happy to receive these documents so easily. Unfortunately, not everyone, not all the refugees, they are able to receive it as soon as we are, as easy, you know. We can work, we can have basic medical insurance, and there is plenty of different programs which support like all of refugees and Ukrainian refugees also. I couldn't say for everyone, but for me it's a little bit humiliating because for my life I already have few higher educations. I've been working in a good project, but now I live here. Okay, like government give me everything from the sides of documents. I have this permission to live here for a few years. Like now the European Union, they extended it to until 2026. What I'm doing now, I work in one Ukrainian NGO, which helps Ukrainian refugees with adaptation, with integration. We're providing for them psychological support for kids with special mental needs. We have primary school and Ukrainian school for people who is in distress to help them recover their mental health and to help somehow. So we had more than 20 different projects on adaptation and integration of refugees. We also had this volunteer hub where we helped youngs with documents, how to receive social help. Like a year ago, there was like 400 euros support. So we helped with more than 1,000 applications because everything was on Spanish and you needed to bring like few documents, few essential documents, which was like very difficult to receive for everyone, like empadronamiento, like a special bank form, etc. So we helped more than 1,000 people. Then we had these psychological support groups. There was like more than 5, 6, 7 groups from 7 until 14 people in each group. And each group was led by a professional Ukrainian psychologists. All our psychologists, they were also refugees. And we had like special help for Ukrainian kids with mental disabilities, kids refugees. We had logoped, special kids psychologist, and special teacher for these special kids. We also had a chess club for kids and classes of guitar. We have also support for Ukrainian refugees who has a cancer or some dependencies. We also have some art therapy like theater for refugees, for amateurs. So I think in this country, we could feel good, but from this side that when you hear we have different culture, another language, you need to start from, if not from the beginning, like in my case, I'm starting like from if I'll have 17 years old, you know? Because I need to learn Spanish. I need to understand at least Catalan language. I need to understand and learn all these cultural traditions because it's very different from Ukrainian ones. Like, you know, I have this constant feeling of guilty that I'm not at home, that I'm living in this safe country. I have the sun, electricity, water, like everything. But my family, my friends, they live without electricity. They live in the country with very high prices for food. Like in Ukraine, the prices now like here, but they doesn't have the same salary. So they have hungry, they without electricity, they are able to recharge mobile phones like during only a few hours during the day. And like if I live in these good conditions, I need to do more and more every week, every month. So I wouldn't be feel this guilty, if I'm not there with them. And in 2022, I did a research together with European Youth Agency, ERICA, and what we saw that mostly our refugees, 50% of them, they have higher education, people with more possibilities, more demands, who are able, after they will learn the language, refugees, they pushed their economy. Because our refugees, they opened new businesses, they become new workforce, they give to the economy new services, new higher quality of services. And I think governments, they need to look on the Polish strategies, how they did it, Because from the very first day, I'm saying that we came here and we are so much grateful to the government, to these local people which helping us, and we want to help them. So we wouldn't be something heavy for this country, but we want to help them. We want to become taxpayers here, We want to share our knowledge, our experience, our strengths, and give some new opportunities for this economy. Maybe we can give them some new view on the local problems. Because we have been struggling with a lot of things in Ukraine. Everyone should open their eyes and to understand that everyone, every country, every human being, they are interconnected. The war in Ukraine influence on the situation in the Africa, in Latin America. Could you imagine? If everyone will understand this impact, what happened in one part of the world, it will happen on your life in few months or in few years. People will start thinking how we can change our political views, our laws, to ask our governments to work somehow in a different way. Because if we will be thinking only about issues which happening in our country, we wouldn't be able to see the global picture. If we will see this global picture, if we will be less egoistic, but more about connection, more about partnership, we will be able to create good politics, good practices. We need to understand, if I help another person, I help myself. And my big dream to create strong community, strong Ukrainian community, where people will be feeling like they're in the family, and that this family will be helping the communities where she lives. I know that Ukraine now not in the news as much as it was in 2022, but I want to ask your audience not to forget about Ukraine, because the war in Ukraine becoming bigger and more aggressive from the Russian side. It's a war not about territory. It's a war about our future. future not only for Ukrainians, but future for all Europe and for all the world. If we wouldn't be able to create new life for what and why we are living on this world.
I am Ana Amrain, and this is Dear Friend We Listen, a production by Efecto Colibrí, the hummingbird effect in Spanish. A big thank you to Marcela Gonzalez for the script, Gonzalo Diaz for sound, and Valentina Bertoni for graphic design. You can listen to more regenerative stories at www.efectocolibri.com or write to me at ana@efectocolibri.com. I'll be delighted to chat.